Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Timeout Tuesday at 10. So excited. Go ahead and grab whatever you need. Hopefully you're inside because I think the air quality is super bad today, they're posting about. So maybe stay inside for this session, but grab whatever you need and we'll see you back here in 30 seconds. Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday. So excited. Maggie and Michele are joining me today, and I'm so super pumped. I'm going to start. Maggie, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I am also staying inside because it seems just hazy outside, a little smoky, a little hazy. So I am comfortably inside and ready to talk today.
Michele, how about you? How are you today?
I'm good. Like I was telling you before we started, though, I ran into a real big spider in here, and I just reach for the poison when that happens. So I am now in a poison environment in my office. And so if I start not making sense or feel a little woozy, I will excuse myself. But I have a fear of spiders.
I hear you. I hear you. So the air quality inside might not be good for you today.
I might need to crack a window.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So before we hop in with our topic, I want to share a few just kind of quick announcements. There's a lot happening with the Illinois Resource Center all summer long, but we're super, super pumped about next month's EmpowerCon. It is a one-day mini conference that we're offering 2 different times. We have July 18th, and that's happening in Palos Hills. So if you are a South suburb educator leader, join us. Come grab a few friends to come with you. It's free. It's in person. It's awesome. And then 2 days later, if the South suburbs are a little too far for you, join us in the northern suburbs. We're going to be at National Lewis and Wheeling for that one-day mini conference called EmpowerCon. So we would love to see you there. Make sure that you sign up and do all the things because registration is going to be closing kind of soon. So we don't want you to miss the opportunity to sign up because we do have limited number of spaces for both of those days. So make sure you register today. Don't wait. And then another great announcement we're so excited about this piece. So we have been working really hard and sharing a few different resources. So recently we did share a piece about the science of reading and kind of how that lives and exists in the multilingual education space. But our newest piece is really centered on supporting our LGBTQIA+ community. And we have a great piece called Reading is Fundamental, Exploring the Joy of Literacy Through Drag Story Hour. So you can kind of see our position statement on that. So that is available on our website. So we're very, very excited about that. But today's topic, I think, is so relevant for today. It's June 27th. But tools and resources to prep now during the summer to help us later once we kind of hit the ground running for fall. So I know we each have a few different things that we want to share. Maybe we'll do like one at a time. Michele, do you want to start us off with one potential?
Sure. I'm like, I have a bunch of little things sitting all around me. First, I will start out by saying that I am not a person that loves to prep. So during the school, and you won't find me laminating things and things like that. I'm actually not a teacher that loves to prep. I feel like some people make everything really fancy and on cardstock and printed out and everything. And I like having those things too, but I will only do it if I think it could sustain me a long period of time. So if a game or a tool or something like that is going to be used a lot, then maybe I will push myself to do that. But one thing that I always did and still do every summer is to prepare sticky note paper. And I know that sounds silly, but one of the things that I like to have students do is to label, because I feel like labeling things, it's just one step maybe behind sorts. It's a very engaging process for students. And so in the classroom, I might give a group of partners, an example paper or letter or whatever we're working on, or a book or something like that. And then I will give them this little, a little page full of stickies that they can label it with. Now, I just said I don't like to prep, and this is pretty high prep, right? So what I do to lower that for myself, first of all, is that I get the super sticky Post-it brand Post-its. And then after the students have done their thing, I stick the stickies back, or I ask a student to stick them back. But in the summer, what I do is I prepare full sheets of this paper. I print it out with all of the squares on it, like just a bunch of copies, 200 copies, something like that. And then I take little super sticky stickies, and while I'm watching TV or I ask my family to help or whatever, I just sit there in the summer, like putting all the blank stickies on. So during the school year, if an idea strikes, like, hey, my students aren't understanding what parts of a letter need to be there, or what the steps are for the math problem that we've been working to solve, then I will go, this might be a good time for me to use a sample and have them notice the parts by using the sticky labels. But when the idea strikes, it's like I'm busy, so I will just go to my cabinet and pull out the paper that is already blank with stickies, and then all I have to do is go back to the template and type in whatever words I want, and then I just put the blank sticky paper in the copy machine, and the activity is ready to go. And sometimes I'll have them like label, non-print features in text or something, but in the summertime, I just sit there, label it, like putting all the stickies on bunches of the paper. So I do have a template for it. I'll put it in the chat now. See if that opens for anyone. It's just like a slide deck with the blank boxes for the full sheets. And then oftentimes for me, I just, I feel like eight labels is oftentimes enough. So I end up, using one page for 2 groups. And if I do it in groups, then I only needed to use, 10 pages or something, or even less. And then I just keep going. Like, so I have a little stack in my cabinet of the blank sticky Post-it paper.
Okay, I am mind blown. That is genius. That is like, it's such a small thing, but then you're ready to go.
Yeah, and then when it runs out. We don't do the labels anymore, because like I said, I'm kind of, I don't like doing tons of high preparations, because it's time consuming. During the school year.
Can I ask you a question? What size Post-it is that template for?
It's for like the small Post-its. I think they're 2x3.
2x3. Okay.
2x3 Post-its. Yeah, just the little small ones.
Okay.
And I use the super sticky Post-its.
That is genius. So
I tried it with the generics once, and they all fell off. They'll wreck the copy. Like, it doesn't work out. But these you can totally put through the copy machine, no problem.
Okay, so it's
or any printer. If I'm only using a couple, I print them at home,
Yeah. Okay. So it's the tiny name brand Post-it.
Yeah.
Because they're super sticky. I want to play with that, because that's my fear, is like, I don't want to be the person that jams the copier at work. So I want to practice that I have a printer at home. So I might practice that a little bit.
Yeah, try it out. And then, to be honest with you, you could totally use this strategy by just writing on stickies in advance and giving it to your students. It never has to be super fancy. As you can see, my sample is not fancy at all. It's just like my handwriting. Yeah. And then I copied it a couple times while, so I'm not a person that feels like everything has to be perfect and fancy and typed out and all of that at all.
Oh, I love that. Michele, I think that's a really positive, like easy one for all of us to do during the summer. And I like that you said that too. Like, you could just sit in front of the TV and like just pop all the stickies on.
Just stick on the stickies until I'm so sick of stickies I never want to see them again, or I run out, and then I'm like, well, that's what I have for the year.
Yeah.
And then, as the year goes on, I use them up. if the template's there, I can just type something in quickly, put in the paper, and we have like a really engaging hands-on activity.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Thank you, Michele.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, I'm gonna switch over to Maggie. Do you have one tool or resource?
Yes. So I am a big fan of using games in the classroom just to promote language and get students talking. And so with Prime Day coming up, I think like the majority of my summer prep is just buying things. And so with Prime Day coming up, I was thinking like, what things do I need to stock up on, you know, for the upcoming year? And so I really focused on games. And so the first game I'm going to show you is not a new one, but it's just Jenga. So let me share that. So it's just Jenga, and this is like a generic color Jenga. And so it's the blocks are different colors. And so the reason I like the generic color Jenga is because if you're playing Jenga and you mix up all the colors, and the student picks like, let's say the pink block, then you can go and say like, here's my pink block of questions, and the student has to answer a question or talk about something in that. And so I used to have like just a regular Jenga, and I wrote questions on the block. And one of the problems with that is that you can only like do one set of questions that like, and then once your students have answered them, they're kind of like, oh, these are boring. These aren't as intriguing. But if you do the colored ones, it can give you, you can say like, okay, you'll hear, you know, now we're going to do, you know, time Jenga, or now we're going to do oral language Jenga, or now we're going to answer questions about, you know, the states of matter Jenga. And you can map the colors to different questions so that you can kind of reuse it over and over again. So it's more reusable instead of a kind of a one and done activity that they might get tired of. And so I just like it as a way of like randomizing questions and what questions they get to answer. And it's a little kinesthetic. It brings in a little fun and whimsy to whatever you're doing. So I think that's just a nice one to have in your classroom if you're like looking to mix it up.
Yes. Oh, I love this. And I would have never thought about the color coding piece.
Me too. I love it. And I was just thinking this would be great even for a family party. Do you know what I mean? To put funny questions or would you rathers associated with the colors. How fun to get everyone talking. Jenga is something that everyone loves to play, I feel like, anyway. So good.
And it's such
right now.
And it's such a like an easy way to, I mean, there's not a lot of like directions or prep that students, you know, you build the tower, you try to pull out a thing. So it's even for students who are brand new to the language, there's not a lot of background that you need to build up or, you know, for everyone to participate.
Yes. I love that. And I love that you said that too. Like it builds in kind of this element of like whimsy and play. Like this is especially important, like as students get older and like higher grade levels, like we almost associate play with like just being an early childhood or just being a primary, but like research shows like when we play, we retain so much more. And then like that just nurtures a more fun learning environment. Like we need to play too. So I love this. I love this so much.
Me too.
It's such an authentic way that we use language, you know, is during play. And I always laughed at like, I would have newcomers come into my classroom and like without exception, one of the first words they always learned I thought was funny was cheater, because they just, you know, like they learned the different like ins and outs of games. It's like that was something they always picked up so naturally and easily from each other. It was just such an authentic way of sharing language with them that's not so scary.
Yes. Oh, I love this. So I'm adding that to my cart right now. And I'm curious to see, you mentioned Prime Days coming up. And I'm glad that you said that, because one of my tools is kind of related to like things that you can buy this summer. I love dollar store. I love like the dollar-ish section at Target, like at the front, like right when you walk in. I get into so much trouble there every single year, but like they're totally marketing the teachers, I think. But one of the tools that I wanted to share, this is a tool that I bring to a lot. Like if I go into a school or a district, this is a tool that I will often carry with me. And it's one of those like little frames that you can find. I originally found a bunch of these on like at Party City. Somebody posted a TikTok and was like, oh, this could be really cool. And I was like, oh, I need to do that. So I went to Party City. I got a whole bunch of them. And then I ended up doing a workshop and somebody said like, Carly, check Amazon. They're actually cheaper. Like you get more for a smaller price. And so they're just like literally plastic frames. But then you get like a 1-inch binder ring. And then what I did here was I included like kind of those heavier hitting stems and frames that like would match different purposes that I would use all school year long. So I have one that's like collaborative sharing prompts. So if I'm ever asking for teams or partners to share out what they discussed, like there's things that say like, we discussed that, or our group talked about, or we noted that. I also have one that's like support requests because I want students to normalize asking for help because that's why we're in school. Like we're all learning from each other constantly. So like I need help with, I'd like to know more about, I don't understand this. So I have a whole bunch of like stems and starters for that purpose. And then I have conversation initiation or invitations because I think during the pandemic, I know a lot of like a lot of students suffered from like having inclusive dialogue. So again, like when students are working in groups, sometimes there's 1 or 2 students who might kind of fall back a little bit. And for students who feel confident and comfortable enough to kind of pull them back in and say like, well, what did you think about? Do you agree or disagree? What questions do you have? So I will link in the chat that tool. And then in that post that I'm going to link, I do link my template for you. And I like putting stuff on different colors just because color like keeps me going. So I love like the Astro Brights neon packs. So I always grab a whole bunch of that during the summer. But my template is there for you and you can print it. So it's like 2 on a page. That way you're getting 2 sets right away. But I love having these available all school year long. And then it's easy for me to add pages too if I want to add more or change them out during the year. But kids love having them and they just flip through them like a diner menu.
That's totally worth the lamination too. Because you could use that for a couple years even.
Yes. They'll hold up. They're a little more durable.
I love that.
Yes. All right, Michele, I'm going to come back over to you.
What will I pick? We're going to run out of time, right, ladies? Eventually here, for sure. Okay, so I will try to be quick. So one of the next things I like to do is to use popsicle sticks a lot. And in the summertime, I might prepare them. First, just buy the popsicle sticks. These are the really large ones. But what I will do is I'll just, with a marker, draw a happy and sad face on the end of the sticks. And then at any time, we can use them with a sticky flags. I just get these at the dollar store, but you could actually order them cheaper on Amazon too in the really big packs. So I will give students one of these and a stick, and it lasts for a while. And then they can show me whether they, how much they agree or disagree. Where is your understanding? Rate your understanding right now. I moderately understand, or I really don't understand. I use them for all kinds of different things. If you had to, reflect on your piece of writing right now, how ready do you think you are to publish? Not ready, super ready, all of those different things. Do you understand this new term? Could you explain the term to somebody else? I could, I couldn't, etc., whatever. So I use that a lot. And sometimes I will, once I give them out to students, I will have them write their name on it and just keep it in their desk. But sometimes I also recollect them as an exit slip. So like put yours on there and just set it on my desk. So I'll flip them over and see where the students are, and then just give them back. So it's a very low prep. I don't have to write things, pass out papers, etc. I also like to use popsicle sticks in the summer to prepare for early decoding support for students. We know that pointing to the words, like one-to-one correspondence is useful. We also know that sometimes we want students to find parts of words and things like that once they get more fluent. So I will prepare in the summer some like fun popsicle sticks. I don't know, I just pulled like some out of my drawer. So this a little higher prep than just the stick and the writing the smiley or frowny. But so then I will stick little stickers to the ends of the sticks. Here's like a heart one. I don't know, I've got like bumblebees, fish, anything fun, and they can pick their sticks. So I just take the colored popsicle sticks and then those little like wooden, button. They're not buttons. I don't know. They're little wooden cutouts. I can usually find random ones on clearance at Hobby Lobby, or sometimes they might even sell them at Dollar Tree now in that big crafty section. And then I just use hot glue one day and like stick on some new ones and add to my collection. And then during the school year, I can pull them out. Sometimes I make them match the theme of the book. Sometimes I don't, and kids just pick whatever. But it's a fun way for students to practice one-to-one correspondence. And once I have it, I can use them for all kinds of things. So I might pass them out in the year and say, let's read the room. Let's go point to this, point to the spot in your writing where you found this or that. Point to the title page in a book. And having the stick makes it feel like they're really supposed to do the activity, the pointing, there's just something to having the stick. I have never had a problem with kids, doing lightsabers or whatever, but also I'm a boy mom, so that type of thing never bothers me.
I love that. And that's important too. Like I always say, anytime we hand students a new tool, give them a minute. Give them a minute to play a little bit, right? Like get it out of your system and then let's do it.
Actually, my niece loves lightsabering my son, and she's actually a bit better than, I shouldn't say that on Facebook Live. she's a good saber fighter. But anyway, I have not had a problem with sticks, and it just makes it a little more hands-on. So that's one thing we like, just grab some easy prep tools like that.
I love that. Thank you, Michele. That's awesome. All right, back over to Maggie.
All right, so I'm going to stick on my kind of game theme. And one of the games that my students always loved playing was headbands, where, you wear the headband and then you put the card in there and it says like, I am, a shovel, or I am a flower. And they have to ask, and the person wearing it has to ask questions like, am I edible? Or do you use me in the garden? And so one of the things I think would be a good like kind of summer prep idea is to think of some of those units or lessons like science or social studies where you want to bring in more oral language and create like a set of headbands cards for different units that you're going to teach in, in the next school year. And so whether it's like, I think I've already used this as an example today, but like states of matter. So like I'm liquid, I am solid, I am this, I'm that. And like create little cards so that you can kind of bring those up and like, it's just kind of an easy low stakes way to introduce vocabulary or to reinforce topics or to, study for a quiz or a test that's coming up. But also increasing that oral language that we know our students need so much in the content areas, because I think they get a ton of oral language, in ELA, but it's in those other content areas that it can kind of fall by the wayside or be an afterthought. And so you really need to proactively plan for how you're going to bring in oral language into those content areas. So like if you're, if in social studies, if you're like learning about a bunch of different people, like that would be an easy way for students to, like I am so-and-so, like, and then ask questions to help, figure out who they are. And I think that could be something, and I'm very similar to Michele. I'm not a crazy prep person. Like cutting lamination was like torture to me in the classroom. Like it was just not something I liked to do at all. And so if I were doing this, I would just get, like maybe 4x6 index cards and write, the person there. And then, just copy or print some images or clip art from the internet and like just glue that on and make it just a real kind of low prep way for you to practice vocab words or practice learning about different people. And also just to kind of vary that, you know, because you can only do the headband clues so much before they already know all the people and or all the topics. Sorry, my dog saw someone outside, or they just really want to play headbands. I'm not sure.
I think they want to play headbands.
Yeah, that's probably it.
I love that so much because like that is an easy thing for us to like to number one prep and also like to pull like in the middle of like your lesson or like when you sense kids are getting a little antsy, you're going to be like, okay, we're going to pause here and reinforce some of these terms or these people, places, ideas, and go ahead and get with your partner or your teams and let's play them, and they're here and they're ready to go. And then like you said, like you can use those then for a lot of other purposes too. So it's like a kind of a heavier hitting tool. I love that. All right. So we are down.
Carly?
Oh, go ahead.
Your turn. Carly's turn.
I've got one last one, and this one is more of a teacher-facing tool because I know, like at the beginning of the year, we're prepping all kinds of stuff for our classrooms, for the students who are coming in, for prepping stuff for families too, like resource packs that we give to families as well. But this is a tool that I have that is like for classroom teachers and content area teachers, and it's almost like a cheat sheet. And so for a long time, like I always use those WIDA name charts. That are based on like the proficiency levels and can-do descriptors and stuff like that. So I always loved doing those because I thought for me as the EL teacher, like this is like a powerhouse bank of like where my students are right now and where I can stretch them as they grow in their language. But as I started to make them for classroom teachers, and finally I had one tell me, they took me forever to do and then like to make and distribute. I finally had one teacher say like, this is really great information, Carly, but it's just too much on a page. And I was like, oh, and I was so crushed. And she wasn't trying to crush me, but I felt like defeated. So I was like, all right, what is something that's a little bit easier to just grab and go? And so I have this, and it's again just kind of my effort to make a cheat sheet. So it's like different proficiency levels, and it gives like what students are able to do. It gives a few ideas for questioning techniques, and then specific scaffolds and strategies to utilize for students who are currently at that proficiency level. When I first made this tool, I printed it all on white paper. But as soon as I did, and again, it took me a long time to make and like prep and pass out. But if it's on white paper, it's going to blend in with all the other stuff on our desks and it's going to disappear. So I put each proficiency level on a different card or a different color, and then I put it on a ring. So now with a ring, now it gives teachers the opportunity to get it off of their desk. And now I can pin it somewhere like on a bulletin board or something like that. So it stays in my vision, like it stays in my line of vision. So when I'm planning for instruction, I can just pull it off of my board and I can say, okay, I really want to make sure that for this particular student or these particular students, I'm making sure that my lessons have a few of these pieces embedded. So I'm going to link that tool in the comments here. So that is something that you might consider prepping during the summer so that once fall hits, and I also wouldn't give it to teachers before the start of the school year. I would wait 2 weeks, because now teachers have the student's face in their mind. Now it's not just a name on a piece of paper. Now they already know the student. Maybe they're already hungry for a tool or a resource to help that kid. And now they can say, oh, thank you. This is like going to be my go-to thing.
Love it. Love it. I know we're almost out of time, Carly. I would love to put a couple more links in the chat for teachers, and I'm going to do a rapid fire here. So one other thing that I like to do is to take graphic organizers that I might use frequently throughout the year and pop them into some sheet protectors. That way I don't have to put them in and out of those writable pockets that I have for more specific worksheets that the students might do, but I will use these all year with dry erase markers. This is a collaborative stick it, which is like an oracy building activity as well. I also have some think, pair, share ones where, you do your thinking, then you trade with your partner and they write what they're thinking, or you listen and your partner, and then what will we share together? I don't know, I have a bunch of those. It's just an idea of things to put inside sheet protectors. And then other engagement tools that I like to prep in the summer is just print out a yes, no card. This one I just got free on Teachers Pay Teachers. I'll give the link anyway. And then I like to cut out some thumbs up, thumbs down signs and have those ready for engagement. I'm also going to link true, not true, true with modifications, and I'm unable to determine you didn't give me enough information. I like to use these true falses in the beginning, but then expand as the year goes on. And I'm also going to link the template for the more advanced agree, disagree slider. So this one I use the most frequently. It's the easiest. But I have all the pieces if you wanted to make one that you could use all year that kids can also write their ideas on and share as a dry erase. So I'm going to put all of those links in the chat.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh, that slider one, that would be like so satisfying. Like I love on Instagram, like I love following people who have the little slider bar for different things. I will always slide it. I will always slide. I won't pass that slide. Like I will. So that for me, I'm like, I need to do that.
Awesome. Good. Okay. So I'm just grabbing all of those. I think I got most in there.
As Michele is doing that, I do want to say I pulled a couple other games that I liked for language development. A couple of those, and I'll put those in the chat as well, but Blank Slate is great, Telestration, Slapsy, they're all different ones. They all include language and learning, like phrases and words and how we connect words together and make sense of things. And sequencing cards that like usually like speech paths use, like sequencing cards are great for like just storytelling, and here's like just images to kind of help you create a story and talk, and just use language a little bit more. So I will also
more games.
Yes.
I love it.
Oh yeah, they're all games. I was in a real games mood today.
I love that. I love that. All right, I'm going to make sure that these get linked here. I'm trying to link stuff, and then I don't know, for whatever reason, it's not like looking nice on here, but maybe.
Mine too isn't going in that well.
All right, I want to make sure I get a few of these pieces here. The slider one is coming now. Whoops.
The disagree and agree is coming. It's 1 second later. Sorry about that. Disagree, agree.
All right, let's see.
Copy, paste.
Got the slider coming in. Thumbs are coming in. Oops.
Hey, one other thing I like from Dollar Tree is the dice, the big dice. Do you guys ever purchase this? It comes in a 2-pack. And one thing I'll do is I make a sign like this that's just odd and even. And then sometimes if we are doing something that's a little bit, tedious in the classroom, while students are working, I will go around and just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the corner of their page. And then I'm ready to have them line up. And this is a great visual to teach them. If you have 1, 3, or 5, line up here. If you have 2, 4, line up here. And then we could also do partners sometimes. 1 partner with 2, 3 partner with 4, 5 find a 6. And it's a nice way to teach odd even in the beginning if students might have missed that foundational skill as well. And practice of the basic numbers visually alongside. So even newcomers are able to follow along and do a lineup or move to a certain spot in the room. And I do it this way too, in case I need to show them in a different way where to go. And I use it with the dice for engagement. And I can use it anytime I feel like we need to stand up. We need to stand up right now. let's get in odd even rows.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. All right, y'all. So I think that all of the links are now live. But if you are trying to find a resource or tool that we mentioned and you don't see it in the comments, just send us a DM, either on Twitter or Facebook or on any of our social media platforms, and we can get that info to you. But oh my goodness, I'm so excited! Like there's so many cool ideas here. I'm really pumped to try to build out a few of these things. So thank you both so much for joining today. A quick programming note for next week. It is the holiday, so we won't be having a live stream next week. But the following week, we will be back on Tuesday morning at 10. So thank you both so much. And everyone watching, thank you so much. Please share the video if you found some cool tools that you want to play with during the summer with a colleague, a teammate. Share this video with them, tag them in the comments, especially if you're catching the replay later on. Lots of really cool tools were shared today. So Maggie and Michele, thank you so much. And everyone else, have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.
Bye.